Now the Salisbury steak is very popular in the States, and do you remember those television tables where people used to have those silly little tables which they used to have their dinner on and watch telly? Well, they used to call some of them Salisbury tables because they had the Salisbury steak. And in this day and age, to be very fair, when steaks are very expensive, this is made with minced beef, so it's a bit cheaper. It was invented or created by Dr. Salisbury in the 1800s, who was a man who had a clinic where he advocated a pure beef diet. So at this stage, can I just suggest, vegetarians and vegans, turn off, because it's not for you. Anyway, he was very keen. I haven't seen any reports, I must admit, of how well his clientele did, whether they thrived on his pure beef diet or not. Anyway, this is for two, I've got 300 or 400 grams of just minced beef. I've got some sautéed onion and garlic, which I'll throw in. Do sauté it first, don't put it in raw. To that I add 1 egg, a good spoon of grain mustard. You could use just ordinary Dijon mustard if you can't get grain or you haven't got grain sitting in your fridge. Some tomato chutney, a little bit of Worcester, some panko crumbs, because that's what keeps this steak together, a decent amount of salt, and then with your very clean hands, mix up this Salisbury steak mix. Let's turn our stove on, put some oil in there. So we'll heat that up, but while we're doing that, we're going to shape this into a particular shape. So that's the shape for the Salisbury, and I'm going to get actually 3 out of these. Now I'll turn that down a bit, and I want a nice crust on them, so be a bit careful turning them over. Yeah, that's good. You of course could just form them in a burger patty shape, but this is the traditional Salisbury shape. Alright, these will be sealed, and as I said, I intend finishing them off in the sauce, so we just pull them out, and then we start thinking about a few other things, like I've got some onion there, and there's a clove of garlic in it too. Use red or brown, I don't care. I just happen to have some red. Some mushrooms, just some button mushrooms which I've cut into quarters, and let's just saute that to get the cooking process started. And once we've got that sauteed a bit, what I'm going to do is add some flour as a thickening agent and cook that really well. The secret ingredient, some Guinness. Also some beef stock, packet beef stock's fine, and a small amount of canned tomatoes. And all I'm then going to do is cook that down until it's reasonably thick, and then I'll return the beef patties, or the Salisbury steaks I should say, and we'll cook it gently, turning them over every now and then until they're ready. But what I will also do is I've got some mash here, which I cooked yesterday, and I'll just throw that in the microwave, because you have to have mash with this, don't you? Absolutely. Now this is looking rather good. I shouldn't sound so surprised, should I? So a Salisbury steak, plenty of that lovely sauce. I'm really pleased with that sauce. I think it's got lovely flavour. A generous amount of mash, of course. And a little bit of parsley on top. Of course you could serve Guinness with this, why not? But I think, something like a really nice old-fashioned Cabernet would be really nice. And I've got this 30 mile Cabernet Sauvignon. It is a beautiful wine. Look at that colour. So as I said, yes, you could have some Guinness with it if you like, but I think, once you've cooked that Guinness and the beef stock and the tomatoes and things, it doesn't have that absolute hit-you-in-the-face Guinness flavour. So a nice Cabernet, the old-fashioned, big, bold Cabernet will go brilliantly with this.